I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause some pain, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life. I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can't and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want. The gas in the back, never left, she's so bad. By thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. Something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can't and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want. The gas in the back, never left, she's so bad.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Behind the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the College Breakdown Show on the All Sports All Plays Network. We got college football. We got 60 games to go through today. We got 60 games to go through, and the Florida Gators is the first time we have seen Tennessee outrank the Gators when they play each other in Knoxville, Tennessee at 3:30 today. So let me bring my Gator friend in, Dre Montez, who had a great week of Pick'em last week. How you doing, Dre, man?
I'm doing better than good, buddy. I'm doing better than good. What's up, Gator Nation? How we doing?
Yeah, the old Gator man. You know,
it's college football Saturday, baby. It's college football Saturday. Let's get it.
Yeah, let's start with the top story here. Herm Edwards gets fired. They said he possibly got fired before he even walked off the field last weekend. So what do you make out of this situation with Arizona State and Herm Edwards situation that's going on?
It's the early stages of this thing here. I heard speculation that the coaches were leaking information. I don't know what type of information they could possibly be leaking. Apparently, they didn't like his coaching style, and they wanted Herm Edwards out. And I want to know when it's a situation like that, you get somebody that's away from it. There's a generational gap. Let's not forget about that. We know all of that. The way he got the job, didn't even know the mascot name or the actual team name, but he got the job. Of course, there's going to be that learning curve right there, but there was no better way to do this than this way. This is the best way they could let Herm Edwards go. This was it.
I mean, if you look at it, too, he posted 6 top 25 wins, never lost to the rival Arizona, and then he gets fired.
They lost to Central Michigan, right?
Yes.
That was when they lost. And I think 5 other coaches lost their job. I mean, when things happen like that, there's more to the story each and every time when situations happen like that. There's more to the story. Anytime something goes on like that, there's something bigger on the way. I can't take the story for what it is, the way it happened. It's like when Bobby Petrino lost the job, I knew there was more coming. I don't see that coming from Herm Edwards, but what I'm saying, there's got to be something more to the story. What triggered this information or this theory or this thought process that, hey, Herm has to go? I mean, how do we get to this point? Were there preventative measures that could have been taken before here? Or was this the last alternative? Were there notions given? Were there yellow notes left on the desk? Hey, we need to address this situation. I need to know more before I just go in and say, hey, well, Herm was way out of line here. The game is past its prime. Everything is streaming now. He's still on a flip phone. I don't want to go to that degree because I respect Herm Edwards and the way he was brought up in the game of football and just his whole demeanor and the way he addresses men. I need more information on why Herm had to go.
Yeah, and I agree with you too. But if you look at the 5 assistant coaches, you said they lost their job, but they also had their starting quarterback transfer out and go to LSU too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean that, and then that's when many people would call for Herm Edwards firing because of all that. But also to recollect to your thing too is that there are words that the Arizona Central has put out that Herm Edwards, assistant coach, leaked out game plans to the other team to get them prepared for the games and stuff like that. So that's how they try to get him fired. And to me, I think that's a bad juju. I mean, if you look at the sports as we see, not football related, the Boston Celtics coach, where he got fined and got suspended for a year. And then they don't mention about Brett Favre stuff. We talked about, on Friday, yesterday morning, on the morning show yesterday on that thing, we talked about Brett Favre getting involved and nobody's broadcasting that. So the stereotype of the situation here, But I think, to me, Herm Edwards it should have been a better way to fire him, bring him in the office, find out what's going on, try to regulate some of this stuff. Because if you look at it, I mean, he was not a bad coach there. I mean, they had good seasons on him, and they had 6 top 25 wins on him, and they never lost to Arizona. So you beat your rival, which is good because now you can start winning the in-state recruiting. But there's got to be more to the situation that they're not really reporting out either.
Exactly. And like you said, he never lost a rival game. He did a great job since he's been there. That COVID situation kind of hurt a lot of that COVID, surviving COVID as being an influential player, trying to big name player, a coach trying to make a name for yourself, that kind of hurt everybody. But everybody had a learning curve beyond that. They got past the point. The Brett Favre situation, I think once word got out that the FBI stepped in on the investigation, I think that's kind of halted things. I think there's going to be a little bit more to come from this because, again, all the information that we've seen about Brett Favre, the text message between the president and the governor, and I think a chairman at the university or whatnot, there's going to be more heads to roll. So I think they're gathering their information just as well because I don't think they all just want to go down by themselves. And with the Boston Celtics situation, that is something that here's this. When you get into a situation and you know the rules and regulations and you sign a piece of paper and you agree to adhere to these rules and regulations, that's all I'm going to speak about on the moment. He agreed to abide by these rules and regulations, and he did not, and they're now suspending him for the whole season. But here's the other thing on the other side. I think either by Sunday by 2 p.m. or Tuesday, I think they're just going to go ahead and discontinue themselves away from him and completely fire him because this is something you can't come back from. Once it gets into sexual allegations and misconduct and misappropriation of funds, I think that is something right now moving forward here in 2022. That's a lot of explaining to do to break it down to its purest form and why I didn't know better. So I think the way they all need to get away from themselves, just, hey, let's wipe our hands clean. Let's just start from scratch. You leave. We're done from each other. It makes no sense to come back a year later because now that leads into monitoring. That leads into checking in. Are you doing what you need to do? You're a grown person. These are grown people. There's a grown person that needs to be monitored that way. So if basketball speaking terms, I think the Boston Celtics just say, wipe their hands clean by Sunday or Tuesday, be done with this thing and move forward as we get close to the start of the season of the 22-23 season. The Brett Favre situation, I think the FBI is doing their thing. And Herm Edwards, I think they could have did a much better job on the way it was handled on the exit strategy. If that's the way you got to get rid of me, it's going to be some issues in college football.
Yeah, and then if you look at it too, there's been word that Deion Sanders' name has come up to be a potential candidate for the ASU job. But the way Herm Edwards got fired, that won't set good with Deion Sanders either.
No, but college, that's the thing. The further you go in any aspect of your career or your path, progression, whatever it may be, you think the further you go, the respect gets better. No, it gets worse. The further you go in life, in whatever your path progression may be, financially, romantically, whatever it may be, it does not get better when it comes to the rejection of the failure factor. It does not. It gets worse because nobody knows how to do that anymore. There's no politeness there. No matter what he did in his professional career, his collegiate career, his upbringing, the way he was brought up through his military structured family, what he did in the NFL, none of that matters. None of that matters. When it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. Nobody's going to be polite about it at all. So get that out of your head. Those days are over with, long gone. Manners are gone in facilitating the command of failure or progression. No, those days are gone. Nobody knows how to tell you if you're doing a good job or if you're doing a bad job. They just go about it the wrong way. And it comes across just bad karma all across the board.
Yeah, I agree with you too. So, I mean, You got Scott Frost out of Nebraska last week. Now you got Herm Edwards out of ASU. Who's going to be the next coach to fall? And if they're going to fall at the end of the season or they're going to fall during the middle of the season? Because it seems like right now people are just getting fired.
If you're not meeting the norm, NIL is taking a lot of pressure off these programs because they're getting the players they think they need to fit that void, fill that hole that they need to get this program where it needs to be, whether it's a name or a region recruit. Everybody's looking at all of that. But in the bottom line, what are you bringing to this school or university? Wherever you may, whether you're FBS or Power 5, whatever it may be, the people that put the money out there are looking for something in return. And that's what needs to be talked about. What are you looking for? Because I think the big name for us, the big school, big name that could be on the chopping block and we know the money is out there, I think it's Texas A&M. There's too much money out there for this to be going on. That program is not headed in the right direction. We know LSU got hit with the hammer this week. We understand what Brian Kelly was coming into when he took the job. So they're already looking at like a 2 to 3 year hiatus there. But the rest of these programs, they should be in the trajectory of projectiling on the up. And I think Texas A&M is at a point right now, there's no way the coaching could drop that far off with that program in the past 2 years. But due to what's going on behind the scenes, I think now the political aspects of the coaching and beefing with Nick Saban could be the wrong thing to do for A&M moving forward. Because in the end, the big name recruits are going to Georgia right now. They're going there.
Do you agree with Feinbaum of ESPN saying that Georgia is the new Alabama?
If you look at Georgia, every state has a high school publication online or information you can find out. If you look at the top 300 football players right now in the United States of America, look and see how many are in the state of Georgia. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Leave it at that. That is the thing going on down there. These kids right now in 8th grade have access to things that grown people don't have. Playing at JUCO.
Yep.
They're preparing these kids at a whole different rate of speed in the state of Georgia. Not just athletically, but also academically as well. There's no way just one-dimensional getting these kids ready for the next level because we've seen that failure process going on. So everybody's trying to get affiliated with these players in that tunnel of the future, but trying to get some positivity connected to it. Like, look, if you come to this institute, we're getting your mind right, your body right, and your framework right, and getting you ready for the future to negotiate contracts, to negotiate deals, get your imaging right, as well as your social media game plan, and in the metaverse as well, because that's the next step. And Georgia is on pace more than anybody else I've seen is all this publication in the past 6 months.
Yeah, and you talk about the metaverse world. Is football, the game of football, going to be moving out of the stadium to the metaverse world? And we just have computer e-gaming type sports instead of having real sports in arenas?
I think the metaverse is a way to get out there your technique and your work ethic in a new platform to get your video out there. I mean, the days are over writing letters to a school or university to come look at you, putting the VHS tape together, an 8mm tape, a little chip. All those, everything is changing how to get your information out there. These are new ways to get you out there in front of the people that need to see you, whether it's school or university.
Yeah. And we talk about Georgia. Let's lead into our first game. Georgia at 12 o'clock today. They're playing University of Kent State. Does Kent State have a good chance of going into Sanford Stadium and beating Georgia?
Here's the thing. When you go into an unwinnable situation, I think the coaching that right on the board, 3 things we're trying to get out of this. Whatever it may be, it could be a defensive tactic, offensive, special teams, team goal, coaching philosophy, what we learned this week. Show me you learned something this week. But it should be 3 things written on that board when you're in a situation like that. And if they achieve all 3 of those things, good for you, Kent State. But Uga, when you get in a situation like this, as Nick Saban talked about this before, I think Kirby Smart talked about it. I think Jimbo talked about it. I think Dabo talked about it. That winning formula, when you get hit with that hiccup, when they throw something at you, everybody wants them to just go in here and just dominate this game. But I don't think that is the path to progression for a team that has the formula to win a national championship with the repeat formula. Let's go in here and do what we're supposed to do. If they go in here with a dominate formula, players get hurt. You get scrutinized in the media. What was that? Why'd you do that? Player ejections. Now we're losing control of the game and the team. So if Georgia just stays on path, keep the game as is, they're going to win the game, no doubt about that. But if I'm Kent State coach, man, I'm writing 3 things on that board to still give my players that winning attitude formula. We may lose the game, but we're going to get these 3 things out of this game. But Georgia,
and if you look at the lead by the 6-year quarterback, Stetson Bennett, the offense has displayed a phenomenon of weapons. And you talk about Stetson Bennett, he wrote him a freaking Hollywood movie type deal. He's still going at it right now. So the SEC is going to come down to Georgia and Alabama to win who's going to win the SEC, correct?
I'm not too sure on Alabama yet. I need 2 more games on Bama because there's something going on. I'm still not confused on what happened with the coaching mishap when Bama played 2 weeks ago. Something's not awry there. Something I need to see, can they overcome that, whatever Nick Saban was telling them on the sideline? Have they learned their lesson in that game that they should have lost, but they won that game? I'm not too sure it's going to be Georgia and Alabama, but Georgia's there for sure.
Georgia looked unstoppable against South Carolina, routing them 48-7, totaling of 339 yards and 16.1 yards per reception. 10 players ran the ball, combining for 208 yards and 5.9 as an average. Instead of Bennett in 21 possessions, Georgia has produced 14 touchdowns, 4 field goals, and a missed field goal, and only 2 punts.
Those are some great numbers right there. I mean, they're clicking on all cylinders, man. I mean, I don't think the true test is going to come, and I don't even think it's the Florida game. We may have to really actually wait until the SEC championship again to see really what this team is all about.
And then the sophomore tight end, Brock Bowers, who has now ended up with 5 catches for 121 yards, 2 touchdowns, along with a rushing touchdown on a reverse in that game against South Carolina.
See, I don't like the fact that they showed a couple of trick plays that they could possibly go to, that being Uga, University of Georgia. It's too early in the year. You have the winning formula on defense. We know that. They could really hold a team to about 6 points a game if you get down to it with that defense. So that alleviates the pressure on the offensive side of the ball. But, being the SEC, being college football, points light up the scoreboard. Points light up the thumbs and give you the correct numbers that you need to be in these situations to have to fight for the national championship or be in a bowl situation and say, hey, we belong here. That's the only thing I'm worried about when it comes to Georgia. Other than that, they're one of the strongest teams I've seen in a long time on both sides of the ball. Long time.
Yeah, and Kent State's head coach Sean Lewis came out and said Georgia is the greatest amount of talent ever assembled on the football field.
I mean, that's what he's supposed to say. I mean, nobody talks the way the coaches talked in the 80s. You show that kid legal. You check his grades. All that stuff. Is that the right helmet? You check those shoulder pads. I mean, them days are over with. Now you got to get deeper. You got to get the Jedi mind trick. Into me, I see. Compliment the team. But still, if I'm the coach of any team that's in an underdog situation, I'm giving my team 3 things to focus on that are winnable things they can focus on to do. If we do that, I'm fine. No matter the outcome, I'm fine. I'm talking about in games where I have no business competing, playing this team, or even being in this game in the second quarter early. That's what I'm talking about. Those
Yeah,
are
if you
things
look
that
at
players don't forget.
Yeah, if you look at this, the ESPN predictor matchup predictor has 99.2% for Georgia to win, only 0.8% for Kent State to win. The Georgia is favored by 45 points, and the over and under is 62.
Yeah, I was saying 48. Yeah, that's good. So I mean, you keep the game real simple. Don't make it too hard for the team to understand, or the coaches. The expectations. They know if they in a dogfight by halftime, the speech and the game plan is going to change, but they're not there yet. How many teams really pack an extra play of books, of plays to call? Not many. Not many. They don't perceive themselves in that situation.
Yeah.
So you
I
make
agree
it
with
real
you.
simple. Hey, guys, do these 3 things. Keep them under 60 points. Show me an effort. And don't give up. There you go. Real simple. Okay.
So you think they're gonna hold Georgia under 60?
Yeah. Yeah. They may score 40. Georgia may score 45 to 48 points.
This game's at 12 o'clock at Sanford Stadium. This game is going to be on the SEC Network Plus and the ESPN Plus. Capacity should be about 92,746 people packing into the stadium for Georgia. I don't think Kent State's even got a shot. So we both got Georgia winning this ball game. Unless you're going to go out on the limb. But while we're picking here, let's go ahead and bring up the record from last week here. There you go, man. That's your day. 58-12 to 53-17. I had a 6-game lead on you. That has now evaporated. I only got a 1-game lead on you.
Coming in hot.
Yeah, you're coming back. I had a 6-game lead until you had that great week last week. So, yep, that's what we're looking at right now.
I like that. I like that.
I know you did. I know you did. I just had a bad week.
You'll recover.
Yeah, well, yeah, we do pretty good on the thing. So, let's go right along here. Let's move right along to the next thing that we want to talk about here. Maryland at number 4, Michigan. This is a 12 o'clock game on Fox. What do you see about this game?
What's that matchup one more time?
Maryland, the Terps, against the Wolverines in the Big House.
Oh, man. Fear of the Turtle and Captain Khaki Pants. You know,
Yep.
Maryland always been that defensive powerhouse. You know, they had some struggles with all the situation, the kid that lost his life. I don't think that program is completely back yet where it needs to be recruiting as far as the mentality of playing Maryland football. And then Captain Khaki Pants last year, I think they really went beyond the call of duty, but still had a season letdown to me. I think this could be one of those years where nobody's really paying attention to Michigan at all. They're really not. I mean, it's Michigan. They'll get talking probably 3 or 4 weeks from now. But right now, they could do something very critical to upstage the stock in the program by getting a big win, like a 54-10 game type win here. Then that'll really bring in the sauce for Michigan. But I don't know, man. I like Maryland football, that defensive front. They're nasty. They're gritty. They always get some people from interesting neighborhoods with an incredible background story that are hungry just for the game of football. So I'm kind of edgy on this game.
Well, if you look at the stats, if you look at the 2 quarterbacks, Tagovailoa's younger brother, he's 68 out of 88, 895 yards and 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. J.J. McCarthy is only 30 out of 34, 473 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interception. But the running backs, Hemi for Maryland, He has 32 carries for 294 yards and 3 touchdowns. But the Michigan running back in Chrome, he has 34 carries, 235 yards, but 7 touchdowns. What? And then the receiver Jarrett has 11 receptions for 196 yards and 1 touchdown. Bell for Michigan has 14 receptions for 181 yards and 1 touchdown. So the stats are pretty much even a little bit here. I mean, you talk about the defensive line, and Maryland does have a pretty good defense. Both teams come in undefeated at 3-0. But this is going to be the big house. It's 63 degrees temperature at game time today. So, I mean, and the Wolverine opened the year by beating Colorado State and Hawaii. And Connecticut by an average of 49.7 points. So they really haven't played anybody to get tested. This is going to be their first test.
That's what I'm saying, man. This is one of those games, man. They're playing in the big house.
Yeah.
I'm taking Michigan.
Gonna take Michigan on this one? Yeah, I kind of agree with you too. I don't think Michigan's going to lose to Maryland. I think Maryland is on its way back, but it's not just there yet to compete with Michigan or any other Big Ten team right now, except for Michigan State, maybe.
Exactly.
So I agree with you on that one here. All right, the big one at 12 o'clock today. Number 5, Clemson goes into Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to play Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons. So we know the Demon Deacons got Hartman back at the right time. What do you make out of this contest?
I'm going to watch this game because I like me some Wake, and I think this is good. This is one of those games where now people are going to really look at Wake. If Wake goes out and win this game and play this game the way they've been playing the past year and a half of football.
Yeah, I mean, Ugalea, he's 57 out of 88, 662 yards and 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. Hartman just came back and played, and I think this is his second game. This will be his third game, I think. He's 44 out of 71, 625 yards and 7 touchdowns and 2 interceptions since coming back. Dude, that's – and then they only give him Wake 21% chance to beating Clemson.
See, I don't know if I'm kind of torn right now between what I'm seeing out of Dabo and Clemson. Is this real? Is this just talk? Is there more coming with the recruiting class from next year he's waiting on? Or can he really work with this group that he has and the coaching staff? And then with Wake as well, now they got that shine the way Pitt got that shine last year and the way Louisville got that shine when Lamar was there.
All right.
Is Wake ready for that type of shine? This is that game to do it. I think Wake is ready for this game, and I have Wake winning this game. This is the game where the quarterback can show you he's ready.
That's interesting. I'm going to go the opposite.
It's early in the year, but this is that type of game because Dabo is trying to rebuild the program at Clemson. Wake is trying to show, hey, we belong here, just like they did when Tim Duncan was there in basketball. They were trying to show Duke and Carolina, hey, we belong here. And they're trying to do this right now in football. Look, Clemson, we belong here. I know we're a basketball school and a soccer school, but we know we're doing it as gridiron as well. And let me show you why. Here we go.
Yeah, the big
Wake Forest this weekend.
Yeah, the big concern I have is Clemson's only allowing 69 yards on the ground. And Wake Forest only rushed for 128 yards. But if Clemson gets that defense and makes them one-dimensional, that pass rush is going to start taking off Hartman.
See, that's the thing. I want to see what they can do with pressure when it's on him to make a play. That's why I want to watch this game. I want to see him when the pressure's on him to make a play for the team to survive the drive or the game or continue the drive to put points on the board. That's what I want to see out of Wake Forest.
Yeah, and if Ugalea don't move the team swift, they have that backup quarterback that is he's been when he comes in and clean up section, he's been looking on fire. So I mean, they might have a quarterback just sitting there back there waiting, to replace him right then and there. So, I mean, but they only giving Wake Forest 21% chance of winning this game, and Clemson is favored by 7, and the over and under is 55.5. The money line is Clemson is negative minus 285 to plus 228 for Wake. So I mean, and if you look at the points, Wake Forest averages about 42 points per game. Clemson coming in at 41.3 per game, but Clemson's only allowed 14 points per game to 23.7 for Wake.
I think it's go under. But overall, I'm taking Wake Forest straight up on this game.
Yeah, well, I'm taking Clemson. So there you go. We're different right there. Let's move it right along. Number 14, Penn State plays Central Michigan. They went in to beat Central Michigan beat Arizona State last week. They got number 14 Penn State. Is Penn State showing they are back?
No, it's too early. It's too early. It's way too early for Penn State to show me anything that they're back yet. Maybe week 5, week 6, but way too early.
Now, they're not giving Central Michigan any chance of winning this game. They only give them a 3.9% chance of winning this game in Happy Valley. The temperature in Happy Valley will be about 62 degrees today at game time. A capacity of 106,572 capacity. The house will be full. It's always been a tough place to play in Happy Valley. And I don't see Central Michigan going anywhere beating Penn State today. I mean, if you look at this, Penn State's averaging 40.7 per game to 36.3 for Chippewas, and Penn State's only allowing 17.7 game to 32. So I think this is going to be another blowout here because Penn State is if you look at Penn State's balance, they rush for 192 yards per game to 292 yards passing. And their defense is the passing defense for them, the defense are only giving up 368.3 yards a game to 402 for the Chippewas. So, I mean, I think Penn State's defense is a little bit better than where it were last year. I think the offense is still coming around. I think Franklin's just heading in the right direction. But, I mean, I think the Chippewas is going to be overmatched with just the crowd itself at Happy Valley.
That's always been the thing with Penn State. I mean, they're a one-sided team. The defense has always been more significant than the offense. I mean, since the days of Kerry Collins, it's always been a defensive side team. But if they could do something offensively, maybe a little bit more noise being brought toward the Nittany Lions. But until then, I need to see a little bit more from them. Yeah, this is an easy win for them. I don't think it's one of those type of situations where it's going to be like a 63-0 game. I don't see that coming at all.
Yeah, I agree with you too on that one. So you got Penn State too?
Yeah.
All right, number 17 Baylor goes into Iowa State at 12 o'clock today on ESPN2. What do you look about this game here?
Baylor.
Going to Ames, Iowa at 64 degrees at 12 o'clock ESPN2 today at the Jack Trice Stadium.
Ames, Iowa, man. It's fall weather, man. It's fall weather. It's Ames, Iowa. It's the Hawkeyes, right?
No, it's the Cyclones.
Oh, no. Give me Baylor.
You don't like Arizona State? You don't like Iowa State in this one?
Give me Baylor. Give me Baylor all day.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. Just right there, the significance of this game right now. If Iowa State wins this ball game, Iowa State's only giving up 9 points per game.
Who they play?
9 points.
Who they play? Go.
Who they played?
Yeah,
well, they played.
These 9 points.
They started off playing the SEMO Southeast Missouri. 42.
State. Yeah.
Yeah, 42 to 10.
Exactly.
They beat Iowa 10-7.
Oh yeah.
And they beat Ohio. They beat the regular Ohio University, not Ohio State, but the other one, Ohio University,
Yeah.
43-10.
Play anybody yet.
No, this will be the first test.
Okay, so you hold on to those 9 points. You hold on to that. that defense.
I'm just saying, though, it's just kind of funny to see them giving up only 9 points.
I mean, you look at the interesting scenarios. That Iowa game, that was crazy. That was a crazy game. It really was. I don't know if it was a chess match with the coaches. Was it windy that day? But it was just crazy.
But, I mean, if you look at it, too, though, I'll give Baylor credit here because Baylor comes in – they come in pretty much even. The passing yards, 219 yards, but they rush for 234 yards. And both defenses don't give up 100 yards rushing.
For sure they will. For sure.
So, I mean, so you taking Baylor?
I think Baylor's going to wake up and figure out a way to do something that turns out to be a positive situation. I mean, Iowa State is not going to get beat bad. They may play good football the first half, but I think in all actuality that Baylor's going to wait and say, look, we're Baylor Bears. Let's go.
Yeah. I can see that happen. I'm taking Baylor too. So, all right, next, moving right along. Our next game will be Rhode Island versus number 24 Pittsburgh at our Surge Stadium in Pittsburgh. Temperature is going to be 66 degrees. So you think Pitt going to handle Rhode Island?
If Pitt don't get their act together, ever since they got the limelight last year when they got College Game Day, the high draft pick, uniform change, everybody know about Pitt. They are not the same Pitt. They need to calm down and go back to what Pitt is all about. But they should win this game hands down, easily.
Well, they're 99.2%. They're giving 0.8% for University of Rhode Island to get it. Rhode Island's quarterback, through his 3 games, he's thrown for 705 yards and 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
That's not a bad job right there. That's a good ratio.
Yeah, the running back through 3 games has 29 carries, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think Pitt's going to run all of them because this Akibane Kanana for Pitt running back. He had 64 carries for 302 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Those are good numbers.
Yeah.
And I like the way you put out that name.
Yeah, it's a long name.
Nicknames.
I don't know, man, but that's and then the wide receiver.
Little Reggie, but that's not your name. Little Reggie right now. Little Reggie. I'll call you Little Reggie.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at it too, but I mean, Rhode Island really don't play nobody. They beat Stony Brook 35-14. They beat Bryant 35-21, and they beat Delaware 42-21.
Oh, okay.
So that's their game so far. And then Pittsburgh beat West Virginia 38-31. They lost to number 24 Tennessee 34-27 in overtime, and they beat Western Michigan 34-13. So Pitt, yeah, I got Pitt. You got Pitt. We all got Pitt. United States got Pitt.
If Pitt
don't win this game, there's something wrong with them.
Who gonna win this game?
I got Pitt winning it.
Yeah, me too.
So I mean, if Pitt don't win this game, there's something wrong with them. This will be the worst upset besides that Appalachian State Michigan game. This will beat that.
They've been feeling themselves though, man. They've been really feeling themselves since they got draft pick pickings. I mean, since they got convinced College Game Day to come down there and it didn't go the way they wanted to. But they've been feeling they need to come down to reality, man. Come down to earth. Slow it down.
Yeah.
Slow it down.
Okay, at 12 o'clock today, Missouri at Auburn.
Man.
Does it get worse?
Luther Burden, baby. Luther Burden from Mizzou.
Yeah, this game is at Jordan Hare Stadium. It's going to be 79 degrees today.
Well, the weather here been crazy. Weather been crazy there with you?
Yeah, it's been crazy here because of the hurricane and all that stuff.
Hurricane Fiona down there. But Mizzou
Well,
has been a different team here. The
yeah, they got
past weeks, they have not came out the same team each and every game. There's something going up at the quarterback position. I'm liking the special team plays. My man Luther Burton doing his thing. Shout out to Anthony Blue. But I want to take Mizzou, and I don't think Auburn has anything going for them at all. But that still is Auburn Tigers. That is Auburn football, and they know the SEC better than Mizzou. But for some strange reason, man, I'm picking Mizzou to win this game.
you'd be part of the 28% people that predicted Mizzou to win over the 72.
I believe in Luther. I like that name, Luther.
Well, if you look at it too, Cook for Missouri is 55 out of 85, 626 yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But TJ Finley hasn't done really anything either. He's 33 out of 53, 431 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions for Auburn. But the guy still got Bixby at running back. He's 38 carries for 237 yards, 3 touchdowns. And they still got Johnson at receiver, who's caught 13 passes for 231 yards. So, but then if you look at Mizzou's wide receiver, he's got 16 receptions, 274 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
That Luther Burton?
I just love it.
You love it?
Yeah.
See, the thing with Mizzou, I've only saw Mizzou play one game. I think it was game 2. I haven't seen any consistent play out of the quarterback position. One week they look like a D1 college football team, and then other times they look like a high school football team.
And if you look at it too, the quarterback for Missouri is leading them in rushing for 26 carries, 159 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, we've had Corby Jones back in the day. Mizzou can run that ball. But I'm going to give Mizzou the upper hand on this. Well, I don't see a big win. I see a crucial fourth quarter turnover and good clock management and a big play happening for Mizzou in their favor. Because Auburn, we know Auburn football. But I hadn't seen Auburn football in a few years.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you on Mizzou too. I don't think Auburn is going to be turning that program anytime soon. I think that he's going to probably be the next coach out of the way at the end of the season. I don't think they're going to fire him during the season. I think he'll be at the end of the season.
Yeah.
For that. So who you picking between Bowling Green and Mississippi State? They play at 12 o'clock, the SEC Network.
Mississippi State, that's Mr. Mike Leach, right?
Yep.
Give me him.
Yeah, I'm going to take him too.
He's the most craziest man giving mangas and advice. Give me some Mike Leach. You know, if you leave the door open, it means your shoe is off.
Yeah. And if you look at it too, the next game here up on the schedule at 12 o'clock today on the ESPNU is TCU versus SMU.
Texas, the Horned Frogs versus the Mustangs, right?
Yep.
Oh, man. I remember the Horned Frogs used to light up that scoreboard. I remember the Mustangs used to do it in the 80s and early 90s.
But the interesting part is Sonny Dykes goes back to SMU.
Them return games can't be fun because somebody always going to remember something, have a sign or say something out loud inappropriate.
Yeah.
Well, those are trials and tribulations of what happened when you go back home in college sports, whether a player or coach, it happens.
Yeah, this game is in Dallas, Texas at the Gerald J. Ford Stadium with 78 degrees weather. It's going to be today. The matchup predictor is kind of split down the middle. TCU at 48.3 and SMU's at 51.7%. If you look at the edge of it right now, SMU's quarterback's got the edge. He's over 1,000 yards passing. He's 70 out of 117 for 10 touchdowns and 3 interceptions so far. And Duggan, the quarterback for TCU, he's only at 417 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's 25 out of 32. So you got one quarterback that's over 1,000 yards already in passing in 3 games for SMU.
I can see that. I mean, that's the conference they're in, and they're trying to figure things out. When you're trying to identify yourself, you do anything just to put points on the board and get players out there, try to figure out who has what. You're still trying to figure it out, but I got TCU winning this game. not handedly, but I think TCU is going to win.
Yeah, I got TCU winning, but the good thing about TCU is they're balanced. They're a balanced offense. They have 294 yards passing, 227.5 yards rushing, and SMU's 346.7 passing, but only 169 yards rushing. So I mean that's going to be. And then if you look at SMU's last start of the season, they beat University of North Texas 48-10. They beat Lamar 45-16, and they beat Maryland. They lost to Maryland 34-27. So
Who you got?
I got TCU also.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing comes up at 12 o'clock. It's the two basketball schools. Duke University at Kansas at 12 o'clock on FS1. Both team comes in undefeated. How do you look at this game?
What this game being played at?
At the David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium in Kansas. In Lawrence, Kansas, temperature is going to be 67 degrees.
It's going to be windy tomorrow due to the hurricane. I mean, it's going to be windy today.
Yeah.
Due to the hurricane. So I'm thinking it's going to be a hard-fought game. No, this is going to be a high-scoring game. Very high-scoring game. I'm thinking in the 40s.
But Duke's averaging 36.7, Kansas averaging 53.
I know. I think everybody going to step outside of their zone, their weight class. I got Kansas winning this game very close, though, man. Very like a 52-49 score.
Yeah, this is a kind of a revenge game because Duke blew Kansas out last year.
Yep.
At Wallace Wade Stadium. So, to me, Duke's only giving up 14.3 a game. I think the miracle run. I think the run with the new coach is going to be because now you already got 3 game film on the new coach, so you got 3 games that you can look at. You can tell what his tendencies are. The 4th game usually is when the new coaches start getting where teams are catching up to their style. So I think it's going to be a close game also, but I got Kansas winning by a field goal on this one.
Yeah, I got what I say, 52-49.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Kansas too. Yeah.
The over and under is 64 points. So
You're definitely going over on that. It's going to be a no defense play. Just throw the ball up, run, and catch.
I agree there too. So I mean, to me, I've seen this as it's like 4 teams that are basketball schools that are undefeated. That's They put North Carolina in there, they put Duke, and they put Kansas in there, and Kentucky. So, this will be an interesting matchup. South Florida at Louisville on ESPN3 at 12 o'clock today.
Ooh. South Florida and Louisville at 12 o'clock today. I like Louisville, and I love South FLA. They're fast. They remind me of Tulane and the Posse. Just how they utilize their size and speed and the ability to get open and know the game of football. Man, this is tough. This is tough one.
Well, if you look at this,
I'm gonna take.
If you look
South FLA,
are you taking South Florida?
Yeah.
All right, and let's talk a little bit about this game here. This is going to be an interesting stat for you here. South Florida is averaging 30.3 a game. Louisville is only averaging 19.3 a game. Louisville is giving up 26.7 a game to South Florida 33.7. But if you look what South Florida has done, they go down. They lose to BYU 50-21. They beat Howard 42-20, but then they lose to number 18 Florida 31-28. That was a close game.
Yeah, numbers
Florida.
don't lie. Style of play doesn't lie either.
Now, if you look at Louisville, they beat Syracuse 31-7. Then they lost to Syracuse 31-7. They beat UCF 20-14, and then they lose to FSU in a very highly competitive game, 35-31.
Right.
So, I mean, temperature is going to be 75 degrees. This game is played in Louisville, Kentucky. So you taking South Florida? I'm gonna go ahead and take South. I'm gonna take Louisville on this one.
Okay.
Take Louisville on this one. All right, Buffalo versus Eastern Michigan to round out the 12 o'clock games. This is on CBS Sportsnet. Who do you have?
Buffalo playing Eastern Michigan. Give me Eastern Michigan.
Go take Eastern Michigan. I think Buffalo's on the verge. I think Buffalo's coming up into the game. They've been playing competitive football games coming up in here. This game is in Michigan. They're back on the road again. If you look at Buffalo's last few games, they haven't won a games. The last 5 games they have lost, going back to November 17, 2021. But the game against Holy Cross, it was 37-31. They lost. And then they lost to Coastal Carolina 38-26. So the last few games have been close. But if you look at Eastern Michigan, they beat Arizona State 30-21. They lost to University of Louisiana 49-21. They beat Eastern Kentucky 42-34. So they got a little bit of a win streak going, but I think Buffalo comes in and breaks it in. I think Buffalo wins this game.
Oh, you got Buffalo?
Yeah, I got Buffalo in this one.
Okay.
Now, UCLA at Colorado on the Pac-12. This is a 2 o'clock game. One of the two. This is one of the 3 2 o'clock games we're going into now.
Got a lot of early games today. Good situational games early today.
Yep. So, what do we see? What we see with Chip Kelly and this UCLA offense going into Colorado, and what does Colorado can do to slow down UCLA?
See, that's the thing. When people face Chip Kelly, they go to the obvious thing. How can we slow this team down? How about you just play football? Don't worry about slowing them down. Have a game plan instead of a coaching plan when you're the player. Attack them. But UCLA is in the moment right now. Everybody's trying to get the attention back to the left side of the coast, being the West Coast. I call it the left coast. I think Chip Kelly is going to win this game for sure because he know all the cameras on him.
I mean, if you look at it, too, Buffalo's only averaging 10 points a game for their offense and giving up 42.7.
Yeah. But it's early. Some teams have been matched up against and challenged, and some have not, that are ready to unleash that arsenal of offense they've been working on early in spring training. But we'll see what happens. I
mean, if you look at Colorado, started the season, they lost to TCU 38-13. They lost to the Air Force Academy 41-10, and they lost to Minnesota 49-7.
Well, Colorado has not been the football program that we know of in the past. We know that was due to recruiting at some point, but now with this NIL, maybe this can help detour some talent a little bit more way of the McCarthy days of Colorado football to help them get back on the map. But it's going to be a hard road the next, I say, 4 to 5 years for Colorado to even be in a conversation of being that caliber team that can hang in a game like this. But no, I don't see them even being in the conversation in the third quarter in this game. It's over with.
I mean, if you look at it, too, the defense for Colorado is only giving up 104 yards passing, but they're giving up 348 rushing.
There it is right there. And when you come in there with an option-style quarterback or some play action, you put the defense on their heels for sure. You can have fun running the ball and throwing the ball. Because now you can possibly get up to 600 yards into the offense on the ground in the air.
Yeah, because if you look at UCLA offense they average about 506 yards total offense, and that's broken down 295 yards passing to 211 yards rushing.
Right.
I mean, this is like totally domination. And they're only giving a 13.8% chance for Colorado to win, 86.2 UCLA. And you're taking UCLA?
Give me UCLA. Give me Chip and the Kelly.
I don't think even though the game is played in Boulder, Colorado, I don't think Colorado has a chance. I think it's just going to be airstrike Bruins is what it's called. UMass at Temple. This is the other 2:00 game on ESPN Plus.
It's another basketball matchup. UMass and Temple.
Yep.
John Calipari against John Chaney. Let's just do the matchups. I'm gonna kill you.
This game is played in Lincoln Financial Field with 76 degrees in Philadelphia. Both team comes in 1 and 2.
UMass, and you got the Minutemen versus the Owls. Give me the Minutemen of UMass winning this game.
You're going to take they're a 10-point underdog in this game.
Give me the points, too. Give me the points. Give me the points, and I'm taking it.
All right, the last game at 2:00 today will be Fordham at Ohio.
Give me Ohio.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this Ohio. All right, brother. This next game, we're gonna talk a little bit here. Number 20, Florida, goes to number 11, Tennessee. This is the first time that Tennessee has outranked Florida in a long, long time.
Since the days of Peyton, probably, or T. Martin.
So, what is your thing of your quarterback, Anthony Richardson, going to do in Knoxville with all those 104,000 screaming Rocky Top fans? Can they prevail at Rocky Top? Can they hold the grudge? Can they still hold the charge against the Volunteers, or is this the year the Volunteers break through again?
Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that Tennessee didn't pay attention. No game film this week. Didn't look at the tendencies that we team to show early when we're passing or when we're running the ball. At the same sense, I'm thinking Mr. Anthony Richardson got his shit together, as well as our coaching staff, on giving him the plays, knowing on the defensive tendencies we're about to run into with Tennessee to give him the advantage in winning these play calling situations. Have the right game plan, and we can come out on top. These ill-advised throws, not knowing what to do, the communication factor is off, not knowing the audible situation, not knowing how to read defensive schemes or the look, that could come into play. Just because they're moving don't mean a lot of things are going to happen. Be calm, be humble, take what is given to us. This is not the 1990s Florida football Gators. This is not the early 2000s Florida football Gators. This is right now Florida football Gators. We're not that good. So we really have to go out here and play really fundamental style football, disciplined football, do everything right. You ever heard the term, let them make the mistake first? Mm-hmm. We have to let Tennessee make the mistake first today. If Tennessee makes the mistake first, we can capitalize, win the game, control the ball, understand the field of position, and utilize and execute our opportunities. And I think Florida can win this game in a 17-13 situation or a 21-17 situation. But I don't see a blowout coming. I'm on the edge of my heels and toes that Tennessee's going to win this game, but I rep these colors and this style for a reason. So I got to stay with my Florida Gators on this one. I'm going Gators all the way. The numbers are not on my side. Offensively, defensively, maybe midfield stop second quarter when the wind is blowing to the east after 4:15, I'm winning. But other than that, there's no way possible. And if Florida go in this game thinking we're the 90s Florida team, we will lose. We got to go in this game and play it straight for what it is.
You also got to worry about too. If you look at you say the numbers are not on your side. The numbers are not on your side because right now they are predicting Tennessee 87.5% winning this game to 12.5% for your Gators. But if you look at Hooker, Hooker is 59 out of 85, 844 yards, 6 touchdowns, no interception. To the Florida Gators quarterback in Richardson, he's 41 out of 77, 423 yards, but no touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Okay.
You have the running advantage, and Johnson Jr. with 25 carries, 240 to Wright 45 carries for 231 yards and 3 touchdowns. But the receiving goes back to Tennessee with Hyatt 18 receptions, 267 yards and 3 touchdowns.
So who you giving the upper hand to?
Right now, Tennessee has got the upper hand, and I'm sticking with Tennessee. I think Tennessee could be back to where they can beat Florida and still challenge Georgia because they play Georgia very tough all the time. So I think if Tennessee wants to take the next step up, this is the step they have to step on the Gators first and exercise their demons. I think they do it this time.
I think what gets me about this game, how fast that I saw brief highlights of Tennessee the past 2 weeks. How fast Tennessee is just blew my mind. I had no idea they were that fast. They read and react to the ball, understanding offensively where they're at, the situation of the game, when to attack offensively, and the defense just speaks volumes for itself. And with special teams, they seem to have that awareness that everybody looking for, knowing where the ball is at when you're running for the kicking side of the game. And then when you return the ball, special teams, they're understanding field position, how important that is. The only thing I see about this game is the speed and taking advantage of the big play. The big play cannot outweigh the opportunity in this Florida-Tennessee game today. But I'm still going my Gators. Still going my Gators today in this game. But Tennessee does look good. I'm not saying it's the Philip Fulmer days, the T. Martin days, the Peyton days. Not saying any of that at all. Maybe the Clausen days, maybe. One of them Clausen. It was like both of them. All 3 of them probably played there. It was a lot of them motherfuckers. But Tennessee has that speed.
Do you take the over and under at 63?
I love that number 63. So I'm going to go under 63.
Under 63. It's going to be 83 degrees in Knoxville, Tennessee today. Tennessee is favored by 10.5. And the capacity of the stadium is 102,455.
You don't need all of them.
This game is on CBS.
We got the 2:30 kickoff today, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, we're getting ready to get to the kickoff time. Number 22, Texas versus Texas Tech. The Red Raiders coming off the loss to NC State last week. Texas. So who you get the advantage to in this game? This game is on ESPN at 3:30.
Texas Tech against who?
Texas, number 22, ranked Texas.
I'm afraid of Texas. Every time I believe in them, they let me down. This is not the Texas Tech of old. But in the way I think Texas is ready to say, look, we know what has happened in the past. I think we got it now. Everybody's looking at Texas do the endowment money, what they should be doing, what they should have done, and where they should be at. So I'm going to go with Texas in this matchup. I'm going to go with Texas.
Yeah, I got Texas over Texas Tech. I think Texas, but they're going into Red Raider land. They're going into Lubbock for this game. So this game is in Lubbock, Texas. Texas on the road. I think they had experience against Alabama. I think they played Alabama tough. It came down to that safety that they didn't call. It's supposed to have been a safety, but they didn't call it. You know, they just call it incomplete pass. Try to save Nick Saban from losing in Texas. That's just my opinion.
Are you saying all the right things? You ain't saying nothing wrong.
So, I mean, this game's got 82 degrees. Kickoff time in Lubbock at the Jones AT&T Stadium. So, I got Texas. You got Texas. Everybody's got Texas.
Deep in the heart of Texas. Yeehaw!
So, does Miami get back on the winning track? Number 25, Miami plays in Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. Temperature is going to be 88 degrees down south here, about 6 hours from me. They play Middle Tennessee. Does Middle Tennessee have a chance winning this ball game against Miami down there?
I mean, Coach, everybody has a chance, but reality has to set it. If Miami does not do what Miami should be doing, when you have a matchup like this, you don't want to over-exaggerate the situation. You want to take care of business. So I would take care of business early. That way nobody gets hurt, and we get to see our talent that's coming in next year. Take care of business early, Miami. Let's not prolong the situation and get it over with. Because you get Middle Tennessee State at iota, and you make that game interesting in the third quarter, then it comes down to special teams and quarterback decisions, or running backs and receivers trying to do too much, trying to get that yak, meaning yards after catch, which means a fumble. So it can go all over the place on that one. Take care of the task at hand early.
I mean, you look at Van Dyke, he's 54 out of 86, 671 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But Cunningham comes in for Middle Tennessee State at 69 and 95, 592 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Parrish is leading the rushing category out of 53 carries, 302 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And then they have Respero, 11 receptions, 172 yards, and 1 touchdown. And the over and under is 53.5. Do you take the over on this one?
Taking the over.
So you got Miami winning?
Yes.
All right, with me. All righty. Moving right along to 3:30. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame versus University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill at King Stadium on ABC at 3:30 today. What do you see out of this game? 1-2 Notre Dame versus 3-0 North Carolina.
Well, 2 weeks ago I had Notre Dame beating the living hell out of them. But when you don't have a quarterback, things get interesting in college football. You got to change your whole game plan. You got to change your whole play outlook. It makes it a difficult week for the offensive side of guys. Everybody got to learn something new. And I don't think that Notre Dame is there yet to learn this new routine that fast. The only way it's going to work if Carolina falls into the trap and try to make this more about the offense than actually playing the game. Throwing balls you shouldn't be throwing. Trying plays you shouldn't be doing. Trick plays. They will lose the game. But if Carolina comes out here with a Carolina game plan, they can beat the Golden Domers easily. It makes this game is real simple when you don't have a quarterback. How much responsibility of controlling the game and knowing what plays to call you think they're going to give this quarterback this week? We don't have the time to work out the kids that much anymore. So you may have 15% of the plays that he's going to know. So you have a shot every third chance that Carolina gets the ball. Notre Dame gets the ball. You're going to have the advantage of winning the play because the quarterback has no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
that's how big it's going to be. I got Carolina beating Notre Dame big time.
To me, this is the thing that I'm worried about here is we know the history between North Carolina and Notre Dame, and North Carolina and Notre Dame. Notre Dame has always had North Carolina number. I get it. Yeah, they always get it. But this year, Notre Dame is averaging 18.3 points per game, and they're giving up 21.3. North Carolina, on the other hand, they're trying to outscore you. 51.3 for their average, and the defense hasn't come through yet for North Carolina. But the interesting thing is, the last time they played Notre Dame, they had a bye week before they went and played Notre Dame.
Right.
They have a bye week this year before they played Notre Dame. So, did Gene Chizik get that defense back in line because right now their defense is null and void for North Carolina. Their defense is allowing 275 yards passing and 193 yards on the ground. They played Appalachian State played us tough. Georgia Southern played us tough. Georgia State played us tough, and FMU played us tough. We had to take it behind our offense to win the game. Now the thing is, the last 2 weeks we had no Josh Downs. Josh Downs is coming back. Our star wide receiver. He is cleared to play. Then we also picked up another wide receiver that has been out for the year, for the season so far, and Antonio Green, who's supposed to be on the other side. But what we did find out about North Carolina's offense is Presser, the other wide receiver he's third on the depth chart. He has stepped up in Josh Downs' absence. He has 14 receptions, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's a freshman. And he's now doing it. But what gets me is the running back from North Carolina, Hampton, he's a true freshman. He has 38 carries for 228 yards and 5 touchdowns. So Carolina's been balanced here the last two weeks. So now if Notre Dame decides they want to come in here and try to take the passing away, we could dominate the run because we have 5 running backs who each game has come through in a different way to help North Carolina win. So how does when North Carolina takes control of this game, it's got to be on the run. It's got to be on the running attack because you got limited their offense on the field and your defense on the field. That's point blank because right now North Carolina's defense can't stop anybody.
You got one team that has no defense, one team that has an offense, doesn't have an offense. This could be one of those games. It's a push and tug. You know, who's going to win, the tortoise or the hare? It could be one of those situations. Who's going to step up and make a big play for the team, make a big play? But the way both of these programs are coming into this situation, it's a winnable game for both of them, if you think about it. Mm-hmm. But Carolina definitely has the opportunity to, in this situation. They could lay the standard right now on how to do this thing because the way ACC football is being looked at the past 3 to 4 years, more than just the 5th through 7th round of draft picks, now they're getting in that conversation. Let's take the ACC a little bit more seriously. And I think this is the weekend right now where it could really be on the eyes of the ACC.
Yeah, and if you look at it too, they got Notre Dame favored by 2.5 points in this ball game.
This quarterback situation at Notre Dame, I know last weekend they said it was the most emotional win. I saw the coach almost cry, try to cry, look like a bad cry on TV. I still don't know who Notre Dame is. Who are these Golden Domers? What is this team about? I don't know. I hear more about the coach than the team.
Yeah. Well, their starting quarterback, Buckner, he's out for the season.
Yeah, he's out. He's done.
And Pay is the backup quarterback who took the victory last week. But if you look who they played last week, right. They played Cal 24-17. Mm-hmm. But look at what they lost. They have lost their last 4 out of 5. 4 out of 6. The last 3 out of 5 really. They lost to number 9.
The first 3 games. Now they won a game. So that's 4 out of 5.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look on they lost to number 9 Oklahoma State in the bowl game, 37-35 last year. Now they lost to number 2 OSU. Ohio State 21-10. They lost to Marshall 26-21, and they beat Cal 24-17.
So that's not good. That's not good numbers. That's not good ratio. If I'm at my math class, if I'm my analytics class, that's not a good ratio problem right there. At all. Analytics geometry, not a good ratio to work with, not a good formula. So how can Notre Dame get beyond that? With a quarterback that looks like he's still in 10th grade in high school. He's too small, too little. There's no way Notre Dame put a package together with a game plan that's going to involve throwing the ball to win against Carolina. Only way they got a running formula. They're going to run the ball like crazy. Probably 80-20 running the ball. 80-20 is what they're going to do. Easily.
But
There's no way they're gonna throw that ball.
if you look at that rushing total for the offense, they only rushing for 117 yards a game, and they pass for 182 yards a game. North Carolina's rushing 237 yards, 0.3 a game, and they're passing 310. But their all defense is giving up 193 yards rushing and 275 yards passing. North Carolina's defense.
But when you're not that good on offense, and your defense has a chance to either keep you in the game or give you an opportunity to hang around the game and maybe put it to the kicking game, I'm thinking that's what Notre Dame is going to run to.
Right.
If they throw the ball, they're putting themselves in harm's way of throwing a pick six or giving good field position. And that's the last thing they want to do. So just running the ball, that goes up there with time of possession, clock management. But throwing the ball, that's time off the clock. That clock not moving when you throw that ball incomplete. It stops now. Now you're giving the advantage point to the opposing team. And I don't think Notre Dame's going to go in there like that.
Yeah.
It's just one of those programs, man. It's going to take a minute due to their standards and their beliefs and the way college football is set up right now.
Right. So we both got North Carolina winning this ball game. I think it's going to be closer than what we think. But the matchup predictors got Notre Dame 54.7% chance of winning to 45.3 to North Carolina. I think that's just a slap in the face to North Carolina, even though they haven't played anybody yet. And I know my Duke fans and friends and my North Carolina State friends are just laughing at me right now. I really don't care because I think North Carolina's better than what other people think they are. I think they are. I think they had that bye week. I think Gene Chizik has added some more stuff to the defense. And his philosophy is just keeping it simple and letting them fly to the ball, not to think, just to react. I think this is a little bit more different here. I think this right here could be a poster in the locker room right now for North Carolina to give them a little bit of advantage, saying, hey, look, this is a slap in the face. You're letting a 1 and 2 team they're ranking them more than they think you are at 3-0 because what you played and what you have not played. And this could be a statement game for the rest of the ACC right here. If North Carolina can get past Notre Dame, I think this is a monkey off their back this season. I think this could lift them up to another level and compete to that Coastal Division and leading them up to the ACC championship game. So, I mean, this is one of the games that I had right here that's an iffy. This is one of the games that I think we can steal, and I think North Carolina could come out with a victory in this ball game.
Yeah, I definitely do believe that too. But I don't want them to get too big-headed knowing they have the advantage point with the numbers and the inside information. But they keep the task at hand. This could be that blimp on the page for Carolina, the players and the coaches.
And we're going to move right along out of Chapel Hill. We're going to Lansing, Michigan, where Minnesota versus Michigan State on the Big Ten Network at 3:30. So what do you look at this game? How you foresee this game going to be?
This Michigan State at who?
Minnesota. Minnesota comes in undefeated. Michigan State comes in at 2-1.
I like Minnesota's coach. He's very perky, high energy. He reminds me of Sean McVay. He really does.
Oh, Fleck?
Yeah, I like him. He has that interesting energy that he brings about himself. But as much as I don't like Sparty football program, I think this game is going to be a lot closer than what we think because the familiarity of the both programs have with each other. Really like last second possession type thing or a crazy play or a penalty call. I got Michigan State winning this game. I mean, I don't like it that I'm picking them, but I'm going to stay there with them.
Yeah, if you look at it too, Minnesota's coming back. You go date all the way back to the number 14 Wisconsin game last year on November 27, 2021. They have in their last 5 games, they haven't lost a game yet. And in Michigan State, in their last 5 games, they're 4 out of 5. They won 4 games and lost to Washington, up in Seattle and Tacoma area. How did that loss affect them coming into this game now? Does it give them a sense of urgency that they need to be better?
No, it just made them realize some things they need to focus on and correct. I don't think panic mode hits to probably next week in college football. It'll probably hit next weekend. But I think today and moving forward, it's all about realizing what's happened in games before then. If we dwell on that, they're definitely going to lose. But I think they get over the humps this week in practice.
Yeah, and if you look at it too, what's so bad is you think Michigan State's known for their defense. They're giving up 17.3 a game, but Minnesota's now giving up only 5.7 per game. But Minnesota's averaging 49.7 on their offense to Sparty's 38.3. If this gets into the shootout, does this favor Minnesota more than Michigan State?
I mean, looking at both teams' schedules coming into this situation here, I don't think one team has the advantage or not. They both had a crazy matchup. Things happen, but now when you know each other, you get more conservative. You don't get outside of the box. So I don't think nobody's going to try to go for the home run. This is early in the year, and they're still trying to get an identity and make sure they're in the hunt for that right bowl situation or the opportunity to represent their conference in the championship.
Yeah, that's true too. So who you have in this game then?
Unfortunately, man, I'm going with Michigan State in this. I'm going with Sparty in this. I'm going to go with Sparty.
I think Minnesota's going to go on the road and surprise people. I think Minnesota's going to come out with the victory here.
Okay.
Let's do the Indiana at Cincinnati. This is a 3:30 game today on ESPN2. Let's talk about this real quick, and then we'll go into a commercial break.
Indiana at Cincinnati.
Yep.
Oh man, I got family blood and from Indiana. I only know Cincy from basketball program, the days of Huggy Bear, aka Bobby Hutchins.
Yeah.
But both programs are trying to, do their own thing and do what they need to do and all of that. But at the same time, I want to keep it real and honest. I just can't believe in programs that do not show me anything yet, like what they can do on a consistent basis on this one here.
If you look at Indiana, though, I mean, the year, 2 years, not last year, but the year before that, they were on a high. Now they seem like they come back to being regular Indiana football.
Right.
So, I mean, do they take that next step to get back into that situation they were? They undefeated 3-0, but they played Illinois. They won that 23-20. They beat Idaho 35-22, and they went to overtime against Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, 33-30. But if you look at Cincinnati's opponents, they lost to Arkansas, number 19 Arkansas, 31-24. They beat Kennesaw 63-10, and they beat Miami of Ohio 38-17. So that's not really any big deal that their opponents are. They did lose to one big matchup. But since Cincinnati has lost their quarterback from last year, who made them who they were, how does Cincinnati get the mojo back against Indiana?
Man, those are some good numbers you just put out right there. Those are interesting facts right there. I like that. Bring it to the table. I think Cincinnati just stay true to who they are. Stay to who you are. Don't think outside of the box, because a lot of programs try to become teams that they're not. They're looking and believing the hype of things that they should not do. They're all coaches and former players try to tell them, stay away from the media. Don't believe the hype. Believe in what you already know this team can do. They stay there, yeah.
I mean, right now, if you look at it too, they are favored Cincinnati 85.5% to 12.5%. So is that a slap to the Big Ten right there? Because IU's in the Big Ten and Cincinnati's not even in the Big Ten or any big conference.
I don't think it's a slap at all. I don't think it's a slap. I just think it's a realizing where you're at and where you're at in the state of the program and what you actually have on your roster. That's how I think it is.
So who you have in this one then?
And this is, again, one more time.
This is a Cincinnati in Indiana.
Oh, man. I got to go with my family on this one, man. I got family that went to Indiana. I got to go with Indiana. They're more conventional football school in this one. I know Cincy trying to do some things and get on the map like Louisville tried to, but I think I'm going with Indiana in this one.
I'm going with Cincinnati in this one. I'm gonna go on the other side. I gotta try to build my lead back up to 6 games over you. So we gotta go to the opposite side a little bit here. So when we come back after these messages here, we'll break it back out and we'll go with James Madison at Appalachian State. We'll be right back. This is the College Breakdown, ESUP College Breakdown Show on the All Sports All Place Network. We'll be back after these messages.